Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about the DC FanDome and whether or not it was a better event than San Diego Comic-Con. Short answer, yeah, I think it was. I think there were actually some decent sized announcements at this event, and it does seem like they're bringing in the traffic compared to even Marvel's own YouTube channel, which has been pretty trash. We've talked about that multiple times. Marvel is not YouTubing very well. But DC actually seemed to do pretty good. We're going to talk about DC Comics and the fact that the DC FanDome shows you what the future of DC is, and it's not comic books. People are excited about these characters, but they could care less about the comic books, which is sad. It's really, really sad. So before we get into it, please give us a sub if you have not done so already, guys. It definitely helps the channel, helps us get found, and go to clownsfishtv.com. For more content. You can see every video we do on every one of our channels, including the Spanish channel. There is a Clownfish TV in Spanish. They all get posted on clownsfishtv.com. So if you're wondering if you're missing a video, go out there and check it out. So let's talk about DC FanDome. But before we do that, let's talk about the comic books. Because the comic books, there's been a lot of movement in DC Comics, and it has not been for the better. In fact, we had massive layoffs a couple of weeks ago, and editor-in-chief Bob Harras is one of the casualties of AT&T and Warner Media's major budget cuts to DC Comics. And now it looks like Bob Harras is cutting out. He's cutting out early, because why bother? Why bother? I've talked with some friends, and they were kind of like, you know, talking about whether or not he wanted to stick around and train his replacement, or he just wanted to get the hell out. Because he has, you know, Bob Harras has been around for a long time. Pretty well-respected editor. I remember him, you know, working on a lot of the Marvel books I read back in the day. When I was a kid and a teenager, he was working on Marvel. And he's probably like, yeah, I don't really see the point in sticking around. So this is coming from Bleeding Cool. Bob Harras, DC Comics editor-in-chief, quits early, heads home. 2 weeks ago, Bleeding Cool reported on the new DC Comics implosion. I guess that's what they're calling it, or the DC bloodbath, depending on what mood you're in. The news that DC was making swinging cuts amongst the most senior employees at the publisher, including editor-in-chief Bob Harras. Marie Javins and Michelle Wells were together taking his position at the company. It was also reported that employees were being given 90 days notice rather than the legally enforceable 60 days under Californian law. Of course, no one is obliged to take all those 90 days of paid employment if they don't wish to. So Bob Harras left. He cut out. Bob Harras, who was editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics from 92 to 2000, and then group editor at DC since 2005, and editor-in-chief from 2010 until now, seems to have decided that enough is enough. And yesterday, the day before the launch of the rapidly shrinking DC FanDome event, was his last day. This may partially be down to the uncomfortable position of still working for a company in a position that he's already been replaced by two others. One of them was a junior employee. I've had this happen to me before. I've had this happen where they bring someone in that is younger and cheaper, and they're like, yeah, could you train this person? Oh, they're not here to take your job, really. And I think in Bob Harris's case, he's like, fuck this. I'm out. I'm not training my replacement. And I don't blame him. I'm going to be honest. The way that this whole thing was done, I don't blame him. He's been in the industry forever. Now, Marie Javins has absolutely put her time in. She's been around a long time. But Michelle Wells, I don't know. But, this would not sit well with me either, I got to tell you. I'd just be like, I got my money. I've got my decades of experience in the comic book industry. I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. Now, other comic book news that was actually pleasant news, I thought, was that Milestone Comics is coming back formally. They've been teasing this for a while, and I guess they officially announced that Milestone was coming back. They're actually going to be creating some new content. Again, I am an 80s, 90s kid. I used to read Milestone books back in the day. And I've always had a lot of respect for, like, Dwayne McDuffie. In fact, he gave me my very first portfolio review. When I was a teenager, he gave me a portfolio review. He was a lot more gracious, I think, than he needed to be. But, I have always enjoyed Milestone. I think it's good that they're coming back. Static Shock needs a movie. That's all I'm going to say. They need a Static Shock movie. So let's talk about the FanDome event. And it's been a weird thing because it keeps shrinking. And I think part of it is you can't keep people's attention for a week. And Warner Media, I'm not exactly sure what is going on, but Rooster Teeth is trying to do an 11-day streaming convention. I don't think this is going to go very well. Rooster Teeth has had a lot of controversy lately, and a lot of these online conventions, look, it's just not the same. Make your big announcements. You don't have all the FaceTime now this year with all the shutdowns, all the time in person to get the full convention experience. So I don't really disagree with DC just getting in and getting out, but 11 days and a lot of these are paid. You have to pay to be a part of these panels. I don't think it's going to go very well for them, but that's just my personal opinion. But the DC FanDome, let's talk about some of the announcements there. And I just want to compare DC's YouTube page, DC's YouTube channel, to Comic-Cons and Marvel's. Like, we've got Gotham Knights, 1.4 million views. We've got Wonder Woman, the new Wonder Woman trailer, 1.1 million views. Suicide Squad sneak peek, 543,000 views. I thought I'd get more than that. The Justice League trailer, which I'm freaking pumped for, 3.9 million views, deservedly so. Suicide Squad video game, 1.3. You get the picture. You get the picture. They're actually for a channel that has 3.01 million subscribers. These are numbers I would expect for a channel that size. And I don't know if they're running it through YouTube on their FanDome event or they're doing it themselves, but that seems about right-ish. But then you go to Comic-Con International. You know, we talked about the failure of Comic-Con International, and a lot of its panels and announcements only got, you know, they're lucky if they got a couple thousand views. This one, God, it's sad. And they had too many panels, and people just really did not care. They did not care as much as they were thinking. And I don't think Rooster Teeth is going to do that well either. It's too long. So maybe they learned, maybe that's part of the reason that DC split. But look at Marvel again, you know, 14 million subs, and Marvel's, you know, they're getting a couple 100,000 here and there. That's on the games, but you go to their actual videos, you know, 2 hours ago, Make Me a Hero, 5,000 views. Here's a history of Thanos. That's going to get 100 and some thousand because it's Thanos. You know, they're talking about Scarlet Witch, 33,000 views. I mean, supposedly Marvel has many times what DC has, and even the Eternals one announcement trailer, 658,000 views. That's not very good. 21,000 views with Adam Kubert. It's just not good. It's just not good for a channel that size. So they're doing better in that regard. But here are some of the biggest announcements. And we're actually pretty excited about a lot of it. And I think the future is, I gotta be honest, and Geeky and I have been talking about this, we're more excited about the DCEU than we are the MCU at this point. It seems like Warner is at least trying to get back to basics, I think, with a lot of their superhero movies and stuff like that. And, you know, they're trying to whip the DCEU into shape. It's been all over the place. I mean, we've personally enjoyed Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Shazam, but the other movies we thought were hit or miss. And, you know, I was not a fan of Justice League, but damn it. I watched the Snyder Cut trailer and I'm like, this might be it. This might be the movie we were looking for. Because I thought Justice League was underwhelming, very, very underwhelming and incoherent. We just watched it again the other night. It was on TV the other night, you know, and it's been like a year or so since we've seen it. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's all over the place and it's not cohesive and the stakes don't feel very high. But we watched this trailer and we're like, yeah, this might be it, man. This might be it. I have to point this out. Zack Snyder on Twitter smacking down Forbes' Scott Mendelson. This was very, very funny. It's been making the rounds. 49,000 likes. Apparently, a lot of people don't really like Scott Mendelson, right? Zack Snyder said, you enjoy the theatrical cut of Justice League like you enjoy your Saturday morning cartoons. Well, this is made for grown-ups, so you're not in the demographic. Also, cool of you to comment on a leaked teaser at Scott Mendelson. Mendelson said, so the trailer for the Snyder Cut of Justice League looks like the same movie. Hell no, it doesn't look like the same movie. Lots of deleted scenes from the marketing campaign, but otherwise it looks like alternate takes of existing scenes. I strongly disagree. It looks like a very different movie. Scott Mendelson, wow. Yeah, so Zack Snyder smacking him down. Batman, I'm on the fence about. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think he looks kind of emo, but the tone seems right. I mean, he is like beating the crap out of guys, and they're going to have, what is it? Hush, Riddler, and Penguin, I think, are going to be in this. Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I got to tell you, I'm actually, now this is the game, but the Suicide Squad sneak peek, I didn't like the original, but I'm wondering if I'm not going to like this movie. And Wonder Woman 84, we're looking forward to that. Flash, now, Ezra Miller, there were rumors that he was going to be out. Apparently he's not out, and neither is Amber Heard. So apparently the controversy is not hurting them at all as far as Warner's concerned. I am very thankful. I think Ezra Miller is a weird dude. And I think Ezra Miller is not right for Barry Allen. But at least it looks like they're fixing the costume, because I freaking hated his costume. His, like, cobbled together, whatever the hell, rubber band battle armor thing he had going on. Hated it in Justice League. But at least they're getting the costume right. I do not like Ezra Miller as Barry Allen. So Black Adam should be pretty good. I don't know. I think overall, I think it was kind of successful, but it shows that, like, you know, when DC's making and Warner making big announcements like this at their own convention, it absolutely takes away from the San Diego Comic-Con, takes away from the New York Comic-Con, but these companies got to do what they got to do. And I got to wonder after this year, is this the end of conventions? Is this the end of conventions being these big events where everybody holds the cards back and plays them at the convention, you know, to wow people? Or are more studios, more publishers just going to do their own online thing? You know, what's going to happen? I honestly think we're going to see a lot less conventions next year. I don't think they're all going to come back. I think this is definitely going to, and to be honest, there were way too many conventions. We did the convention circuit for years. We had a webcomic, and we had other, you know, businesses kind of built around the convention. It felt like being part of a traveling circus, right? You went from convention to convention, like every weekend, throughout spring, summer, and fall, and you ran into a lot of the same people, and it was just kind of a thing you did. But I think that's going to end. I think this might be the end of physical conventions being major part of income for a lot of people. I think everything's going to transition more or less online. If you can get together in person, that's fantastic, because nothing really beats that face-to-face convention experience. But I think there are going to be a lot fewer of them because they're not really necessary. I mean, they're really not. They're very expensive. You know, it's a hassle for a lot of people, and it is going to change. It's going to help change the comic book industry. It's going to help change the income streams of people who depend on conventions to supplement their comic book income. It just doesn't really matter anymore. But it just shows you that DC, they're focused on the movies now. They're not focused on the comics. I think Bob Harris is probably right in doing what he's doing, because DC could frankly stop publishing comics at all tomorrow, and they've got decades worth of material to strip mine for movies, and that's what they're interested in. That's what Warner Media is interested in. That's what AT&T is interested in. And you know, I mean, hey, they seem to be doing a better job than Marvel and San Diego. So I'm gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk to you guys later.